Oh, shit. We're live. Just realized I need to put my headphones in. So, welcome, everybody. There's nobody watching right now anyway, so I think I got a second to put my headphones in.
I ain't figure out
So,
it.
Thomas, say something, Thomas.
Well, the Bengals and the Browns both had bad weeks last week. The Bengals lost to a Cowboys team that they should have beat, but it's okay because we do believe the Bengals will bounce back, and we'll tell you why coming up. But also the Browns, it could have been as bad as the Browns collapsed against the Jets as they blew a 13-point lead, and the last team to do that was the Browns. But it's okay though because the Browns have a very easy opponent next week because they're playing the Steelers, so the Steelers are easy. You know why, Cal? Do you know why, Cal?
Something about the Steelers still suck?
The Steelers still suck.
All right. Yeah, all right. So I actually do have something written up for an intro. I just didn't get the headphone on. But you did a good job, though, Thomas. So no, you're fine. You did a good job. I'm gonna do my thing because it's how it's my process. It's how I get started. But no, you did a good job. Congratulations to Thomas, everybody. This is Wow, I screwed it up. This is episode 109 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. The Bengals.
I didn't screw up.
I don't want to talk about it. Spoiler alert, we're going to. But, just come watch my pain. I think, what was it? Black Adam Schefter on Facebook posted something about how, something about, it was a meme basically saying that team expectations, going into the season, expectations versus reality kind of thing. It was like the Joker getting hit by the car and stuff like that. And I was like, this meme really just needs a Bengals logo to be as accurate as possible. Because, man, we were in the Super Bowl last year, and now we can't do anything.
Yeah. I like the fact that you quoted Black Adam Scheffler. Like, I thought I was the only person in the world who ever knows Black Adam Scheffler. Like, am I the only one in the world that knows this guy? And then, like, you telling me about Black Adam Scheffler just makes me happy that I'm not the only one in the world who knows who that Black Adam Scheffler is. Shouts to that man.
I think it's like I think he's an offshoot of like Total Pro Sports or something like that. I don't think he's his own thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really the biggest fan of him, but every once in a while he posts good memes. So
yeah, it's funny as fuck. Yeah.
But anyway, the Browns experienced their own pretty pathetic loss this week themselves. Although there's a little bit more to talk about in that one, so you'll want to stay tuned to find out why Thomas isn't worried about it, because that's what he keeps telling me. So I'm interested to hear too.
I'm not worried.
Finally, after watching what they put on the field this week, I absolutely still cannot believe that the Bengals lost to the Steelers last week. Because why, Thomas?
Because Pittsburgh still sucks.
God, they're so awful.
It's so fun.
They're so terrible.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
Oh man, I cannot believe that the Bengals are 0-2 after start. It's like, okay, first of all, I want to be clear, and we'll talk about it more as we kind of go along, but I'm not panicking yet. Like, the whole 0-2 start to the season thing, like, I'll get into that in a second, but like, I'm not panicking or anything like that. It's just the fact that, like, the easiest part of our schedule was like the first 3 games. And now at best, we're going to be like 1-2 coming out of the easiest 3 games on our schedule. The rest of the season's pretty hard. Now, granted, last year, the Bengals were much better against the good teams than they were against the bad teams, to be fair. But still, it's just like, man, you had it like right in front of you both weeks, could have won and just screwed it up. Like, just couldn't, had no desire to win those games. It was, it was bad, man.
Well, I don't really think the AFC is good. I don't really think the AFC is as good as they're advertising right now.
Well, the Bengals sure aren't.
I mean, I just don't think the AFC and well, I see. Okay, I had this theory before the season started. Everybody called me crazy, and I've been saying this. Like, all right, so everybody's like, "Oh, the AFC is so loaded." All right, so they're gonna even out with each other. I actually made a bet with somebody that a 9-8 team is gonna make the playoffs in the AFC, and it was like, no, that's impossible. Like, no, it's totally gonna happen. There's too many good teams. Like that's exactly why a 9-8 team is gonna make the playoffs this year because they're gonna beat up on each other. They're gonna beat up on each other. Like it's not top heavy. What happened a couple years ago when the Browns made the playoffs at 11-5 and they barely squeaked in was because the AFC was top heavy. You had a lot of bad teams and you had a few good teams. The good teams beat up on the bad teams. This year, the AFC is very balanced, so every win matters more, and every loss matters less. If that makes sense. So I really do think a 9-8 will make playoffs this year. I made that bet with somebody. I'm gonna make $20 and should bet them for more, but I believe a 9-8 gonna make playoffs because I mean, just if everybody's good, if everybody is the same talent level, then shit evens out. It's not like
I actually kind of agree with you. Like I think the AFC is full of. There's a lot of mid teams in the AFC. There's a lot of teams that are like good but not great. But I mean, like there's like the Bills are really good. Like I mean, there's like one or two teams here and there that are like scary, but I mean, other than that, like I mean, who are you really scared of in the AFC this year? But at the same time, who are you really overlooking in the AFC this year too?
Nobody in the AFC South.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I wouldn't like I know it sounds crazy to say, but I wouldn't I wouldn't completely overlook the Jaguars this year.
I knew you were gonna say that shit because Trevor Lawrence looked good last week. I ain't gonna front, and I hate that dude. He looked good last week. He looked good. You gotta give it to him.
So the point I wanted to make about the Bengals was that like a lot of people act like you start 0-2 and it's basically a death sentence to making the playoffs, right? And to an extent, that is true. There have been 400 total teams to start 0-2 since the 1970 merger between the NFL and the AFL. And only 38 teams of those 400 teams that started 0-2 actually ended up making the playoffs. So I understand everybody's panic. I understand everybody's like, oh, well, if you're 0-2, then you're screwed. You're never making the playoffs. But don't forget, there's an extra game now. So if you start 0-2, you now have 15 games to come back from 0-2. Also, don't forget that for like 8 of those years, the NFL only had 14 regular season games. So the numbers are even more like, I mean, if you start 0-2 with only 14 games, it's even harder to come back from that than it is if you start 0-2 with a 17-game schedule. So, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I fully believe that the Bengals are not broken. They're I don't know what is going through their heads right now, why they cannot get their heads out of their ass, but I still think they're a good football team, and I still think that like the defense is playing really, really well. The offense is too talented to not get better at some point. And then there's Joe Burrow. Like, once he kind of figures out what he's doing, Joe Burrow always, like, he learns and he gets better as he goes. That's kind of his MO. So, I mean, don't forget last year, we were, a weird fumble away from starting 0-2, and we ended up in the Super Bowl. Like, we had that awful Chicago Bears game in week 2. Week 1, we had the Vikings game, which we only won because Dalvin Cook fumbled at the end. And then there's a lot of people there's a lot of people out there who who think that Dalvin Cook's knee was down. So when we were this close to being 0-2 last year, we still made the Super Bowl. And we didn't, we kind of came really close to not making the playoffs, but we still won the AFC North. So it's just like, with what you were saying, Thomas, with the AFC being so competitive this year and with a 9-8 team probably being able to make the playoffs, I don't think the Bengals' chances are completely shot yet. Personally.
I agree. And
now it's gonna be a lot harder than it needs to be. That's the thing, because like this schedule gets really tough for the Bengals from here on out. Like the first 2 games were supposed to be the easy ones.
At the end of the day, you're a top 5 quarterback. So, what's that? Yeah, play like well. I mean, he's getting hit a lot.
That look, Thomas. Like that was actually another point that I kind of wanted to make. Like, I know the offensive line, like bad, whatever, they get a bad rap and everything like that, and there certainly are bad things going on the offensive line. But the fact of the matter is, Burrow is taking sacks in clean pockets.
So you think
here? Let that sink in your brain here for a second. Like,
he's holding the ball too long?
Well, he's holding the ball too long. He's trying to escape from completely clean pockets. And you could maybe say that, oh, well, the offensive line is so bad that he doesn't trust the offensive line, and he's like making mistakes by not staying in the pocket and throwing the ball. And I do agree with that. Although on some level, I will also say that part of Joe Burrow's game is extending the play. So I mean, it might partly be he doesn't trust the offensive line. It might be partly it's just his play style. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that like the offensive line is spectacular or anything like that. I'm just saying they're playing better than the fact that Joe Burrow's taken 13 sacks indicates. So I'm not saying like Joe Burrow is like playing badly or anything like that. What I am saying is I do think it's kind of a combination of like the offensive line is full of a bunch of new players who haven't played together, and Joe Burrow hasn't played with them, and Joe Burrow isn't really processing things very well right now. Maybe that I think I talked about it last week. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that nobody played in the preseason. I don't know, but like, it's like when I'm watching the film of this game and like you just have like a beautiful pocket, just perfectly immaculately clean pocket, and Joe Burrow just like, nope, I'm going to try to get out of this pocket. And then like, he creates the situation where he's got defenders on his ass and he ends up taking a sack. That and there's been plenty of times that I've been like screaming at the TV, Burrow, throw the ball away. What are you doing? You're about to get sacked, dude. And he just holds on to it, man. Like, I mean, I understand he's trying to extend the play, but at a certain point you have to know when to bail out of a play, because if you don't, then you're just going to end up screwing yourself, which is how we lost both of these last two games. Like they screwed themselves by getting themselves knocked out of field goal range a few different times, and like killing drives with these like horrible like momentum killing sacks.
Yeah, that's just like, I mean, like, I give y'all the first week. The first week is just always the first week is such a wild card. Honestly, the first 4 weeks are such a wild card. But like you said, man, it's a team that came from the Super Bowl. You gotta start asking your question. Did they, and they're a young team, man. They're a young team. And the mistakes, the biggest mistakes that young teams, the biggest reasons why young talent struggle with winning is because they make mental errors. And people don't understand that like mental errors isn't just like one play. Mental errors can be preparation. So there might be a thought that went through the Bengals locker room. I'm not saying this is a thing, Kyle. I'm not saying that this happened. I'm speculating. Okay, I'm speculating. But the Bengals were the hot shots of the NFL and the hot shots of Ohio. They're like, all right, yeah, y'all lost to the Rams, but y'all barely lost to the Rams. Y'all got this top 5 quarterback. Y'all got this top 5 receiver. You got this top 3 kicker. You got nice defense. You're the hot team in town. You're the hot team in the NFL. Y'all became the NFL darlings. So, I mean, like, maybe that chip on that shoulder is not as big as it was before. And as crazy as that sounds,
I've had that thought too, yeah.
So like, that's where they talk about Super Bowl hangover. You say Super Bowl hangover, like, because I don't really believe in that, but I mean, I shouldn't say I don't believe in that. I believe in the Super Bowl hangover. I just don't. How do I explain it? I think what the Bengals are going through is a Super Bowl hangover, but I just think that they just crowned themselves too early, and that just screams young team to me.
No. I just figured it out based on what you just said. I just figured out what's going on. The Bengals are doing the same thing Jamar Chase did last preseason by making everybody think he sucked by dropping all those passes, only to come out in week 1 and absolutely demolish everybody. So what they're doing is, you're right, they don't have that chip on their shoulder anymore because like they became the NFL's darlings, and now everybody's talking about them as like, you know, an AFC contender and everything like that. And they need that push and that motivation to be able to be a great team. Like, you know, kind of like where nobody's expecting them to be a great team and they just kind of come out of nowhere. So that's what they're doing, Thomas. I figured it out. What they're doing is they're losing these games on purpose so that you get into a nice little sense of security blanket and you don't see the Bengals coming at all. And then boom, 15-2. That's what's happening.
We want to see. We want to see, man, because like, I just honestly just think that I think that it might be just, I think it's a mental thing for them right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I think the mental, man, it's football. They're gonna rebound because then you got Joe Burrow's quarterback. You got Joe Burrow's quarterback, and you're gonna rebound. Y'all shouldn't have lost to the Cowboys, but you played against a quarterback who I haven't seen before, who we didn't have any tape on.
No, we've seen Cooper Rush before. We lost to him. We lost to him like what was it, like a year or two ago?
Oh damn!
Exactly. We can't handle backup quarterbacks, Thomas. That's the point.
Hey man, Brandon, I'm pretty sure Brandon Allen got the Browns number right now.
Quite possibly, but let's speaking of the Browns and speaking of mental problems. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns.
Secondary.
So I don't know if I've ever seen. I know it's happened before, and I've probably seen it before, but I can't recall ever seeing a game flip like that quickly. Like,
no, I haven't
2 minutes
before.
left in the game, and the Browns blow a 13-point lead.
You're the last team to do it with the Browns.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
So what's crazy about that though? So like, all right, so being at that game, that was crazy because like I just remember because like me and my friend, we were gonna leave. Like we were just like, yeah, let's go. It's been a long day. But the crazy thing is, all right, so like the crazy thing about it is I watched that play. I just remember sitting there just watching. Like the best thing about going to NFL games, and you could attest to this because you went there a lot last year, is that you see stuff that you don't see on TV. And that's what I love about going to NFL games is I could see stuff I don't see in TV. So what I was watching at that game, I was watching the secondary. And I'm not obviously I never played corner in football. I played defensive end and receiver, and tight end. I never played corner. But it don't take a rocket science to know that was communication issues. What I seen on that 70-yard touchdown run, I'm pretty sure they had him sacked. They had him like third down and everything. Like the game was over. And that 70-yard play happened. The crazy thing about it is when I watched it, I just watched him literally just run by everybody. It wasn't like he ran by everybody because he was so much faster than everybody. They literally just watched him walk by them. It was one of the most phenomenal things I ever seen in my life. Like, so, all right, so Denzel Ward's like right here, right? And then so he runs past Denzel Ward. I swear Denzel Ward looked back, and then Grant Delpit just let him run by him. And it was almost like, how the fuck do y'all let both these people run by them? Now, my theory is that Grant Delpit, they both were trying to make the hero ball play, is what I've been hearing rumors of, is that somebody didn't want to make a big sack on the quarterback to try and end the game to make the hero ball play, or they were trying to ball hawk the play, and they essentially underestimated Joe Flacco. Now, Joe Flacco's a bad quarterback, but one thing you never do is you never underestimate your opponent, dude. And we talk about young teams. This is a young team too. Like, you never underestimate your opponent. Like, stay off Twitter. Like, stay off Twitter, man. Like, people say shit because they're stupid. People say shit because they're stupid, man. Like when people say shit like the Jets couldn't beat a college team. That's a dramatization. That's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. Anybody time, but if you're on the field and you actually think that as an NFL player and you're underestimating your opponent that much, like they let Joe Flacco do whatever he want. And when I say that, like, a lot of people say, oh, they just let him do whatever he want. No, they literally let him do whatever they want. They have the talent and the capability of doing it. What it screams to me is that there's communication, there's discipline issues on the defense. And that's troubling to me because the problem that tells me that the defensive coordinator needs to be fired for one. Joe Woods, you suck. But the most disappointing thing is I thought Kevin Stefanski called a really, really good game. Like Kevin Stefanski he coached his ass off. He coached his ass off on Sunday. And then he gets blamed for the loss. And I got to hear all these people, these idiots talk about why they think Kevin Stefanski's a bad coach. No, you lost the game because it was discipline on offense. And don't get me wrong, Kevin Stefanski should make sure the defense should be disciplined because he's the coach. But Kevin Stefanski did everything he was supposed to do. Everything he's supposed to do, he did. Nick Chubb did everything he's supposed to do. ADP idiots blame Nick Chubb or idiot. Like, I can't fathom people blame Nick Chubb for that game. Amari Cooper did his thing. Jacoby Brissett did his thing. I don't blame him for that interception. You had 22 seconds to win a game. There's only 5 quarterbacks that you could trust to get you back in the game with 22 seconds left in the game like that. And one of them he just won't be here till week 13. And that's a whole other story. But my whole thing is that's communication, that's discipline. And I really hope they had a players-only meeting. Recently, they had a players-only meeting yesterday to talk about what's going on. I just really think that they got 2 options basically. They can either come out and ball out tomorrow, or they could swivel up and cry about it. It was all the defense, though. That's all the defense. That's 100% the defense. Like, that's 100% the defense, dude. Like, I blame defense 100%. That's like all the defense.
Well, I feel you. I mean, when you put up like 30+ points, you kind of have to blame the defense for not winning. But first of all, I do have something to say about that. Real quick, shout out to Joe Varell from the Square Table Degenerates podcast for tuning in. One of my favorite guests that we've had on here. So thanks for watching, bub. But anyways, my thought process on the Browns and part of why they lost is quite honestly because this is exactly what I was worried about with Jacoby Brissett being the quarterback. Because
what did Jacoby Brissett do? Wait, hold on. No, go ahead. I'm listening.
He threw an interception with 15 yards to go in field goal range.
That's true. That's very true. But again, he did do that. But again, the reason why I'm not mad at him is because it was 22 seconds left on the clock,
and that was the key point of the game.
He should have been in the game. He should have been in that situation, is what I'm saying.
Well, he should have been. I agree with you that the defense really dropped the ball over the whole of that game. This is just why I'm saying I was worried about Jacoby Brissett being the quarterback, because he is the kind of quarterback who won't lose you a game if the team plays amazing around him. But he's also the kind of quarterback who throws interceptions with 15 yards to go in clutch moments like that.
Okay, Cal, I can think of 6 quarterbacks that could have got us in field goal range within 22 seconds of the situation like that, with all the momentum going like that. I can think of 6 quarterbacks who I would trust to get us in field goal range. Okay, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. That's it. And maybe Derek Carr. Derek Carr.
This isn't 2018. Yeah, this isn't 2018 anymore. I'd hold off a little bit on Deshaun Watson. Let's see if he's actually still got it first.
I can't wait till he plays. I can't wait these days.
But anyway, that's my
like,
point. Jacoby Brissett is not on that list.
You know what's crazy? Okay,
he's a backup
so you
quarterback.
So you know what's crazy about that though. You know what's crazy about that is that's actually why Jacoby Brissett is actually why I'm very positive going to the Steelers game, because I thought Jacoby Brissett played pretty well.
Look, in my opinion, like Jacoby Brissett played well enough for you guys to win week one.
He played pretty good.
And oddly enough, what I'm going to say is I feel like if Baker Mayfield was still your quarterback, you would have won this game.
Maybe.
Because he wouldn't have thrown that pick.
Yeah, he has in the past.
He might have thrown other picks. He wouldn't have thrown that pick.
No,
I don't think he would have. Not against the Jets.
I'm sorry, Kyle. I can't. This like at the end of the day, dude. That game is 100% on the defense. That game
95% on the defense.
Okay, you know what? Look, 96. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, he was 15 yards. 96. That's how. I'm not giving you no more. That's 96.
95.5. Okay, say what you
95.6.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever. Fine. Look, I'll give you that. He should have got those 10 yards. But like I said, 6 quarterbacks, I would trust that I would depend on that situation. I think, yeah, they give me a field goal range. I named them. That's it. Fine. If you want to switch out Derek Carr for Deshaun Watson, even still, it still proves my point. Because I know you probably agree with me on that. I know deep down you look.
No, I think I might personally have some experience with Derek Carr attempting to do that and doing the exact same thing that Jacoby Brissett just did last year in the playoffs. Jermaine Pratt. That's all I gotta say. Still the highlight of my football life watching that play.
Anyway, the reason why I'm positive about the Browns is because they put up 30 points against a solid defense. I don't think the Jets are a great defense. I think they're a good defense. I think they're okay defense. I think that they're middle of the pack.
I will say on that, I was really surprised because I talked about on the last episode going into it how much I was sure that the Jets defense was going to bully Jacoby. The defensive line was going to bully Jacoby.
No, he looked good.
He didn't I think he got sacked once.
Yeah, no, he looked good. Man, him and Cooper, man, they look nice. Like, he was good at one point. He started the game off 8 for 8. That was good. I like he's smart. He's very smart. And that's such an underrated quality in football. It's crazy to think that. But he's so smart with the game, and he just makes the right play. He just constantly makes the right play. And that's why I just noticed that he just makes the right play. And then you just keep on making the right play, you end up scoring. Especially when you have these many players around him. He just leans on his talent well. But he made some nice passes, man. He threw some dimes to Cooper. He looked good, honestly. I think the Browns offense to me looked like the Vikings offense did in 2014? No, 2016 was that year, right?
What year?
The Stephon Diggs catch with Case Keenum as quarterback.
2018, I think.
2018. It was 2018. It was my senior year of college. That was the offense looked like, and that team won 12 games that year. And so I just feel like Kevin Stefanski just wanted. I think that the reason why Jacoby Brissett looks good is because Kevin Stefanski's in his zone, and it reinforced my theory that Kevin Stefanski's a really good coach. That I've been saying this for years. I'm just surrounded by freaking idiots. Like I can't get over it. Like, I think the thing that frustrates me about football is how reactive people are in football season. I think that's like my most frustrating thing about football season is I always look at the big picture of things. I was like, all right, cool. This happened, but like, I don't know. I would just see the bigger picture of things, and for me, the bigger picture is the offense look efficient without Watson. I think that what I got from that game is this team can win 6 games by week 13. Like, I was more confident leaving that game that this team can win 6 games by week 13 than I was going in. Now, because I've been saying, I was expecting the Browns to lose one of these first 4 games. I was like, they're gonna lose one of these first 4 games. They should go 4-0. They should go 4-0. I said it last podcast. I was like, I think they should go to 4-0, but I think they're gonna lose one. And it's gonna humble them. It did. I really think they're being humble right now. They didn't need that kick in the pants, but if maybe they might rally around it. They got good leaders. They got all these knuckleheads out of there. I'm not happy about what Ward's doing right now, but I think they'll bounce back. But I really like what I think from Jacoby Brissett. I know you want to rip him, but I really like what I seen from him. He looked good. I think they went 6 wins by week 12. Honestly, I think they can do it. I think they can beat their way up there.
When does Deshaun Watson get back?
Week 13.
Week 13. So let's see. Week 13, y'all have 4 games left. Is that right? Or is it 5 games?
We have
5 games.
Yeah, 5 games. 5 games left. Yeah,
5 games. So are you hoping that Deshaun Watson gets back and you win 11 total games?
No, I mean they go 6-5. If they go 6-5 by the time Watson gets back, I'm hoping. Honestly, I just want. I'm still thinking that theory 97 to make the playoffs. I just want to make the playoffs. Just get in the playoffs. I think 5 games should be enough for Watson to get in the rhythm of things.
I don't see the Browns having a winning record with Jacoby Brissett. I really don't, because quite frankly, y'all almost lost to the Panthers. You didn't, but you almost lost to the Panthers. You lost to the Jets in pretty, not great fashions. All right,
that loss last week was a fluke accident, though.
I mean,
yeah,
maybe a little bit, because it's kind of a fluke accident that it happened at the very end like that. But at the same time, like I said, though, it wasn't a fluke because y'all did play that way against the Panthers throughout the whole game. And the defense.
The defense. The thing is that you see the problem. The problem, I guess, what it is
the defense is supposed to be the unit that's carrying you right now.
Exactly. The talent is there. The talent is there. It's very. If Jamar Chase had 2 games in a row where he had 20 yards, right, and 2 receptions, wouldn't you believe that he's going to bounce back from that?
Well, yes, because he has before. Because of precedent.
I think
but the Browns haven't. Is my
last
point.
Year the Browns. Okay, so what's the problem here? The problem here is the Browns defense. With the same exact unit. The same exact unit plus some rookie draft picks. The same exact unit. The very same unit.
But that doesn't mean they're going to play the same way this year.
4th in the NFL.
But that doesn't mean they're going to play the same way this year.
I don't expect them to be that bad. I just don't.
No, not necessarily, but I don't know if they're going to be good enough to make up for that Browns offense. The Browns offense can put up 30-something points, but I just don't know that they're going to do that every week.
I mean, I have reason to believe the Browns offense isn't going to be bad at all. That's why I'm so confident about it, because oh, we got an offense here. No, the Browns got an offense. The Browns got a really good offense, actually. And I don't think
talented offense.
I don't
but
think
the Bengals have a really talented offense. Look at what they've been doing.
No, well, the Browns will put up points.
In week 2.
I mean, last week they did not put up points in week 1. I mean, they scored 20, like in their first week. It's game 1 of the season. Teams are still learning formations, and I don't know. The offense looked good.
But so were the Panthers though. Like I mean, it's can't really make that excuse for how many points you put up.
The reason why I think the offense looked good is because I think Cooper and Brissett, I think they got a good rhythm with each other. As well as I really do think that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have really found a balance with each other. It's hard to stop both of them, and it's hard to stop Cooper at the same time. Donovan Peoples-Jones has been a very consistent receiver this year. Now you got 2 good receivers. You develop a decent pass game with an efficient running game and an efficient offensive line.
That's fair.
This team can put up points. And this team is going to put up points on you. And you have a genius as a play caller in Kevin Stancy. This team's going to put up points. I'm very comfortable with the offense. I think they're going to have a week where they hit a wall. I think it's going to be against the Bills. Possibly even the Patriots. But probably the Bills, honestly. The Patriots don't scare me as much. But I just really think this offense is going to be efficient. For me, my concerns on the defense is decent bounce back, and I think they could. I mean, all right, Kyle. I mean, like, look, if you think that, fine. I mean, like, but we're gonna see. I mean, like, for me right now, I'm like, let's get through these first 4 games. I still think they're gonna win tomorrow. I still think they're gonna win Thursday, and next Sunday against the Falcons. But we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see because, like, I don't really think because that schedule's looking a lot easier and easier every day.
That's fair. I think we should probably go ahead. I mean, we're like 37 minutes into this podcast, so we should probably go ahead and move on. So let's talk about our underrated players of the week. I'll go ahead and start for the Browns. I want to give it to Jadeveon Clowney.
All right.
So I know a lot of people know Jadeveon Clowney's name. I don't know if that he's like super underrated because a lot of people know who he is, and like I mean he's gonna get some credit just because of his name. But he's also like kind of fallen off the radar now that he's like second fiddle to Myles Garrett. Nobody really thinks of him as an edge 1 type of guy anymore. But I mean, dude, he killed it. I mean, he was a big part of the reason. He was a big part of the reason why up until the very end y'all were like destroying the Jets. Like, I mean, he had 3 quarterback hurries, a run stop, and a sack. Like, I mean, obviously the collapse at the end was ridiculous, but I don't think you can really take away from the rest of Jadeveon Clowney from the rest of Jadeveon Clowney's night just because the whole defense collapsed at the very end. Yeah. But I mean, the whole defense collapsed. So I mean, if Clowney did, if Clowney collapsed, it's like, well, so did the rest of the team. He was nearly flawless though. He did miss 1 tackle that was really bad. I will point that out. But it was like a lone bad play for him in a sea of really, really good ones for him this week. And I think if we're going to lambast the defense for like falling apart, I do think that Clowney at least needs to be pointed out as somebody who kind of gave them something to fall apart from.
I'm sorry, I was looking at somebody. For me, for the Browns, my underrated player of the week, is going to be David Bell. He made a nice little catch. He made a nice little catch. Good to see him out there. I'm really looking forward to see what he does long term. It's just like, hey, keep an eye on this kid. Like, all right, cool. I'm keep an eye on him. Like, okay. Keep an eye on it.
Right on. Who you got for the Bengals?
For the Bengals, I got Hayden Hurst, the tight end.
Hayden Hurst. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, I don't know. I can't remember that name. Had a few catches. Good to see him out there. He's consistent. He had 5 receptions this week and last week. He had a little more yards last week because he had the big catch against Steelers. But it's good to see that you have consistent tight end catching the ball. Phil, you all lost CJ Ugama. Did y'all pick up? Is this the one? Is this the tight end y'all picked up over the all season? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He was a first round draft pick by the Ravens back in the day, and he was recently with the Falcons until they drafted Kyle Pitts, and obviously he's not needed anymore.
Yeah. I like what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah. He's a good pick for just being underrated in general, just because of what I was just saying. He keeps getting replaced by these great, amazing tight ends, and it's really no fault of his own that he's not super duper elite. I mean, obviously you want to be the best that you possibly can, but not being super duper elite, not being as good as Mark Andrews, and not being as high potential as Kyle Pitts. It's there's no sins in that. He's a perfectly fine tight end for being. I would say he's been he's lived up, I think, to his late first round draft status. He's been a pretty solid tight end who's been good everywhere he's gone. It's just he keeps getting replaced. So the fact that the Bengals were able to pick him up after losing CJ Uzama. Yeah, it was real nice. It was really useful. My underrated player of the week for the Bengals is actually going to be a different free agent that we picked up in the offseason. And this is going to sound crazy if you've been following my Twitter feed, or if you've been following just Bengals fans in general, how they feel about the guy. But in all honesty, I got to give him a shout out because I think on some level he deserves it. But I'm going to give my underrated player of the week award this week to La'el Collins, the right tackle. Yeah, in fairness to Bengals fans, he has been a nightmare in pass protection. It has been a huge problem. And that was the whole reason we brought him on, was because Joe Burrow's pass protection was so bad and we needed to fix it. And it's just that sucks seeing that. But I will say he was an absolute god in run protection this week. It just proves that, yes, La'el Collins is still a very good offensive lineman. He just needs to develop some chemistry with the rest of the guys and Joe Burrow and everything to the point where he can become a good pass blocker. But I think his PFF grade was 95.1 or something like that. Something insane in run blocking this week. Every time, if Joe Mixon had just ran more towards La'el Collins' side of the field, then Joe Mixon probably would have had a better night. But whenever La'el Collins was doing run blocking, he was killing it, man. He really showed, I think, that Bengals fans have something to potentially look forward to with La'el Collins if he can gel and make things work. And it's the pass protection is so bad right now. But even with Cordell Volson got his shit together this week. And he was really good in pass protection. You had Ted Karras and Alex Kappa. They did as good as ever. Jonah Williams was a problem, and obviously La'el Collins had his problems. The tackles are really bad at pass protecting right now, but the interior of the line is doing really good at pass protecting right now. So it's just I get watching that happen, and then watching La'el Collins be so bad at it right now is really frustrating. But I think he does deserve commendation for he's still really talented. You can tell, and he's really good. He just needs to figure it out. That's really the thing.
I might. No, never mind. Okay.
Odd way to go with that, but that's okay. Let's talk about these. Let's recap these predictions real quick because
awesome.
We're pushing on 45 minutes here.
Sure.
So last week, so you had some interesting predictions that went wrong, Thomas. Overall. Well, yeah, that one definitely went wrong for you. Overall, I had a much better week as far as predictions go than you, but we also got some that together similarly wrong, and so I definitely didn't have a perfect week. But I went 10-6 this week. You went 8-8, and so that puts me at 11-6 on the year. That puts you at 9-8 on the year. We both did not. We both picked the Bengals to beat the Cowboys, and that did not happen. We already talked plenty about that. I don't think we need to get more into that. We both did not see the Giants winning. So,
What's up with Saquon Barkley behind Jesus?
I don't know. When did Daniel Jones become a serviceable quarterback?
Hey man, watch it. Hey, look, yo, by the way, I'm just gonna drop this on the podcast right now. I think Lamar Jackson is going to the Giants.
Why? I mean, I can see why you think he's leaving Baltimore, but why specifically the Giants?
Okay, you know what it is that I think that maybe I'm still traumatized from LeBron James leaving in 2010. And like I remember when LeBron James left in 2010, the thing that was told was that him and Wade were boys, and Wade, and Bosh, they planned this back in 2008. Mm-hmm. And like players talk. And I just got this feeling that the only other team that would give a quarterback a contract like Deshaun Watson, that the Browns gave Deshaun Watson, are the Giants. I can see the Giants doing that to Lamar Jackson. In fact, another NFL player said that. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Tiki Barber said that. I can see the Giants. I didn't even read the article. I just heard Tiki Barber say something of that nature. I can see the New York Giants giving Lamar Jackson the contract that he wants and him going to the Giants. I can see him being a Giant next year.
I mean, I guess on some level it would kind of make sense because if the Giants do decide to move on from Daniel Jones, they wouldn't have to change up their offense a whole hell of a lot with Lamar Jackson. They just have a lot better execution with Lamar Jackson than.
I think Saquon Barkley and Lamar are boys. They want to play with each other.
No, that's quite possible too. But I'm going to be honest. I did not see the Giants winning this week. That was pretty impressive. Another game we both got wrong was we both thought the Seahawks would beat the 49ers. I think probably coming off that momentum. Now, I will say, I think we were both still right. The 49ers still lost because Trey Lance is out for the year. So it was like a Pyrrhic victory.
That's insane. Like that is just insane. Like the 49ers. Like how do you just like be like the 49ers are just like
they're stuck with Jimmy G again.
There are just some like don't you just feel like some franchises just everything just falls their way? Like I can say this to you. Like how pissed off are you that the Packers get Brett Favre and they lose Brett Favre? Like, oh, we lost Brett Favre. Oh yeah, here go Aaron Rodgers. Like how the fuck? Like you know.
I mean, yeah, and then it turns out both of them are head cases.
Yeah, but still, I mean, they won championships.
I mean, you can't argue with the rings, I suppose.
I mean, they both won one championship. At least they both won a championship, and we haven't won any, so I can't really hate. But right. I mean, like you know, like the Steelers, man. Like the Steelers, man. They just like yeah. I just hate how some franchises just get like almost like come on, man. Come on, that's too coincidental. That's just luck right there. That's just luck. All right, we're not gonna trade this guy. Like 95% of franchises would trade Jimmy Garoppolo, and 95% of the time, Trey Lance don't get hurt. What are the chances that Trey Lance breaks his leg and we're like, oh yeah, we got this guy right here. He won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. He's fine. Like, oh okay, no big deal. Insert Jimmy Garoppolo, save the season. We're good. We're chill.
I don't know if I really believe that they're going to go very far with Jimmy Garoppolo, but I said that last year, and they went to the NFC Championship. So
exactly, they probably will again. Everything always goes the 49ers' way somehow. I have no idea how.
Speaking of teams that things do not typically go their way, we both picked the Raiders to beat the Cardinals this week, and that did not happen. The Cardinals actually beat the Raiders. I mean, my whole thing is like I do not believe in Cliff Kingsbury, and I kind of believe in what they got going on in Las Vegas right now. So, but it didn't go that way.
You know what it is that they start off hot and he does a good job prepping his team for the beginning of the season, but they'll collapse later in the season.
Yeah, I mean that's probably how that's going to happen. Yeah, that tends to
He,
be
he's getting
Cliff
fired.
Kingsbury's way.
He's getting fired.
I mean, I thought he ought to have been fired after last year. Like, I don't know. But I said that about Brian Flores, and he ended up getting fired too. So, I mean, maybe it'll happen with Cliff Kingsbury.
I think he's going to get fired.
All right. So, last game that we both got wrong. We both predicted that the Minnesota Vikings would take down the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know exactly where I went wrong here. I screwed up. I didn't realize it was Monday Night Football. I didn't realize it was prime time. And that right there, if I had known that, I would have picked the Eagles because it's like betting on Kirk Cousins in prime time is like betting on Andy Dalton in prime time. Don't do it.
That's insane, isn't it? Hurts look good. Hurts look good.
He did, yeah. And Kirk Cousins is basically like he's basically Andy Dalton, right? Because he is actually a really solid quarterback at plenty of times, but for whatever reason, he just cannot perform when the lights are, when the lights are on him, when like on primetime situations or in the clutch or whatever. Kirk Cousins is he is Andy Dalton. He's the new Andy Dalton. He plays he's really talented, but he just cannot get it together when it matters.
Yeah, no. Hurts look good.
Yeah. No, Jalen Hurts looked a lot better than he did last year. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Man, by the way, no, go ahead. Thanks.
I was just gonna say, for me, it just goes back to I mean, it's Jalen Hurts looked good, but I don't personally feel Jalen Hurts looked amazing, right? Like for me, this game is about how bad Kirk Cousins looked.
Yeah.
It's like you got to give the credit to the Eagles for winning the game, but this really felt more to me like a Vikings loss than an Eagles win. Like, I mean, it's totally an Eagles win. I'm not trying to take the win away from them. I'm just saying, like, this is like, wow, man, that was a bad look for the Vikings. That was bad, man.
Good.
All right, so next up, the Jaguars took down the Colts, I believe, was it?
Talk about young quarterback looking good.
Yeah,
Lawrence looked good. The Colts are like Matt Ryan. I just think he just needs to retire at this point.
I see. I was kind of going back and forth on this one. I ended up getting it right because I really kind of do think that the Jaguars. I said it earlier in this podcast. I really do think that the Jaguars are a little better this year than people think they are. I think the Jaguars might I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I'm saying they're going to I think they're going to surprise some people at the way that they finish. I think Doug Peterson was a good hire. And it's definitely better than Urban Meyer. So, I like what I'm seeing out of what the Jaguars' potential is this year. I'm not saying playoffs. I'm just saying, they might be knocking on the door this year. And whereas the Colts, I don't even know what they're doing, man. I never understood why bringing in Matt Ryan. I get getting rid of Carson Wentz, and I guess if you don't have anybody else, I guess might as well go get Matt Ryan. But do you really think that Matt Ryan's still good enough to compete for a Super Bowl? I don't know, man. And he didn't look good, man. He threw 3 picks.
That division looks bad, man. The Jaguars, they might be able to win a division depending on how bad the Titans are this year.
Yeah.
Depending on all right, so they beat the Colts, they're better than Texans. The Titans for me is how bad are the Titans? Because if the Titans The Titans to me look like they're taking a step back, while the Jaguars to me look like they took a step forward. This might be their division, honestly.
I mean, the Titans got absolutely destroyed by the Bills. We both got that right. We both called the Bills winning that game.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, man, they killed them, dude. Like they had no shot.
Yeah, I don't think that because the Titans gonna lose next week too.
Yeah,
they want to start off 0-3.
You think so?
They ain't being the Raiders.
I don't know if I like. Look, I'm not saying they won't beat the Raiders. I'm saying I'm not nearly as confident about that as you seem to be.
I don't. They just don't look good to me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but neither do the Raiders.
That's true. They don't.
Like,
They kind of feel like they both been figured out.
It's really a question of like, who do you trust more, Derrick Henry or Derek Carr?
Damn, they're both 0-2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I might trust Derrick Henry more than I trust Derek Carr. I mean, like Derek Carr is a really good quarterback, but Derrick Henry's a damn good running back. Just saying.
It's gonna be interesting because the AFC South is interesting. Look, just the Jaguars might win that division. You know what? Hot take, early season hot take. Fuck it. Might as well say it now. Give me the Jaguars to win the AFC South. I'm going to tweet about that.
Just remember, I said it first.
Hey, hold up. Did you?
Wait, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I actually very specifically said I'm not saying playoffs yet. So you're going a step farther than I said.
Yeah.
But I was saying the Jaguars are going to be good first.
Yeah, you did say that. But
yeah. So the next one I want to talk about real quick. You know, I gotta like this is the one that I got wrong that you got right, Thomas. And that's the Detroit Lions. And I'm starting to come around a little bit on the Lions. They looked pretty decent. Now, granted, you're up against the Washington Commanders. So I mean that is what it is, but you know, the Lions look pretty good this week, man. I do think that I think Dan Campbell might have something there. And again, I'm not like with the Jaguars. I'm not saying playoffs or anything like that. But what I am saying is, you know, the Lions might be better. The Lions might not be the worst team in the NFC North. Let's just put it that way. Hell, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Lions second place in the AFC North by the end of the year. Hell, I don't think I'd be pretty surprised, but I don't think I'd be absolutely shocked if the Lions won that whole division. Because like, I mean, like the Packers are good, but they're not. I don't know. Like the Packers are a little. The Packers are like not as like they beat the Bears and they beat them pretty handily, but like it's like they kind of weren't beating them handily at first. So I'm just like, to me, it kind of looks like the Packers are not. Like it looks like they're not, like they're sputtering a little bit. Like they're not breaking down yet. They're not anything like that. Like they're still a really good team, but like it seems like there's something potentially like not wrong with the Packers, but something that could potentially go wrong with the Packers, and it's just ready to go wrong. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I expect the Lions to win that division by any means. I'm just saying like I wouldn't be totally, utterly, and completely dumbfoundedly shocked.
You know, they're improving, man. You got some keystones now. You know, I mean that's the NFL. That's how the NFL works. You know, you're bad, and then you accumulate draft picks, top tier picks, and you find cornerstones in your team, and then you build. John Dorsey.
That's why I love the NFL, because you know, I mean, it's so there's so much parity. It's like any team can go from being bad to good. I mean, look at the Bengals.
Yeah, and that's also why I don't. That's why I hate the over. That's why I get frustrated with overreaction in football. That's just football. But I get frustrated with overreactions and when people say stuff without just because they're like, oh yeah, they can't do this because this team is like the Browns can't do this because the Browns are the Browns. That's not logical. That's not a logical statement. That's not logic to me. Like, tell me why you have that opinion. Tell me concrete reason why. Statistics, numbers, players, something of that nature. Don't just say because of that team's a team. And like that's one thing I like about the NFL is because like everything's a fact, everything can be done. The Lions have a general manager that can pick talent, and John Dorsey. He's not good at establishing a culture, but he's good at picking talent.
Right. So Thomas, you in particular, did not do very well this week in terms of picking AFC North games. I mean, we both called the Dolphins beating the Ravens, and I believe it went down the same way that I said it was going to go down because I remembered the way that the Dolphins beat the Ravens last year in crazy fashion. I said it was going to happen again, and it happened again. So I don't know. I might be Nostradamus. That's all I'm saying. But we don't really need to talk about that game too much because we're going to talk about it here in a little bit in the state of the AFC North anyway. But and we actually don't really need to talk too much about these next two games because obviously, like we're going to talk about the Steelers game. We already talked about the Browns game.
Mm-hmm.
But Thomas, you thought that the Steelers were going to beat the Patriots. I believe your reasoning was that the Patriots are bad this year.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget that the Steelers are very bad this year. Like I know,
it's crazy. Sorry,
but I know they beat us, but we looked awful that week. Like week 1, it was just terrible, and we didn't look much better week 2 either. So, but the Steelers are legitimately like I was watching that game, man. That Steelers Patriots game. I was watching that game. I was the whole time I was sitting like, how did we lose to this team? Holy crap, they're so bad.
Yeah,
I don't understand how we lost to them. I'm still mad about it. And not just because of the Steelers, because they're really bad.
Yeah, their offense looked bad. Their offense looked really bad. Their offense
is horrible. Bad. And without TJ Watt, their defense doesn't look like I guess it was fine, but it was against the Patriots, and the Patriots offense is not great. But like without TJ Watt, that defense has no explosion.
Yeah, Mac Jones looked bad.
Yeah, Mac Jones is looking like the Mac Jones that I thought we were gonna see when he
yeah. Well, he don't got one of the best offensive coordinators in the game anymore.
That's true. But it's also like it's his sophomore year. He seems like the type of quarterback who could be easily subjected to the sophomore slump. So we'll see if he bounces back. But I didn't expect much out of Mac Jones when he came out of college, and this is about this. What we're seeing now is what I expected out of Mac Jones. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree.
But I still didn't think that the Steelers were going to beat him because the Steelers are bad. Like they're just not a good football team like at all. Like I mean their defense can be good. But their defense can also not be good, and so it's just like they're not even like they're not even like oh well the offense is rough but the defense is great. It's like well no the defense is kind of on and off, so it's like they're not even really like they don't even have that going for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. So and then obviously the last game, I predicted the Jets to pull the upset over the Browns this week. I was correct about that. You did not. Understandably did not think that was going to happen because that was I very much said it was going to be an upset. And my crazy upset of the week, I can't remember what was it the Ravens game? I think I might have made it the Ravens game, so that worked out. But honestly, I also considered the Browns game to be I thought that was going to be like when I predicted the Browns to lose that game, I was thinking of it as an upset. So it wasn't my crazy upset, but it was still. I felt like the Browns should have won that game, but I just had this feeling that they weren't going to.
Yeah. Still feeling positive. I don't know why I let that game smiling, but I did. I think it was Jacoby Brissett looked good for me. I was like, I wasn't expecting him to play that well.
Yeah, till the end, but
I expected the Brown. I expected to see a 17-14 ball game. No, we got 60 points. I had a good time. I had a good time Sunday, dude. Like, I had a good time Sunday. I'm not look. By the way, Kyle, anybody else who ever watched this, I ain't one of them crying ass Browns fans. I'm sorry. I ain't no bitch. Like Browns fans, y'all gotta stop crying because like here's the thing, like the media, the national media, Pittsburgh fans, Bengals fans, Detroit fans, Baltimore fans, everybody, they're gonna make fun of us and they're gonna continue to make fun of us. At this point, why do we care? I don't like why do we care anymore? Like be like, all right, like y'all suck. Okay, congratulations, you made a statement.
I mean, you say that like y'all don't say the same shit to us when we suck. Like, let's be
No,
honest.
I mean, do we though? Like Browns fans,
yeah,
Browns fans cry. Kyle, I mean this for Browns fans cry more than they talk shit. I promise you that. If you don't believe me, get on freaking Twitter.
I believe that. All I'm saying is Browns fans were horrible to me as a kid. And for part of when I was a kid, y'all didn't even have a team, and y'all were still horrible to me. So that's all I'm saying, man. Like Browns fans I do not feel any sympathy for Browns fans. Y'all get exactly what you give.
No, I mean, I don't feel sympathy for Browns fans either. I'm just telling y'all, like, I mean, nobody feels sympathy. Nobody feels sympathy for us because we got Deshaun Watson's quarterback. People want us to burn and die.
Well, now like,
nobody. People hate us. Like, people hate us. Like, dude, people hate us. Like, I'm just sitting here and look at the refs, like, dang, the refs really do hate. Like, no, people think the refs hate. No, the refs really do hate us.
It's like
it's science.
It's like you used to have the whole like everybody hates Cleveland and like Cleveland against the world kind of thing. It's like now it really kind of is like that.
Yeah.
Like the Browns are the villain team now.
No, I mean, but like a lot of people are starting to think like I'm thinking. Like I mean, like look, man, like I think the whole city. I actually thought that it was actually a productive week because like. This was the first time, like, one thing that I liked about Browns fans of this year, though, is there was a pedigree to it. They were like, they went after the play. Like, usually the Browns are kissing the players' ass. No, the team went after the players. And you said yourself, like, it's not a badge of honor to sell out a stadium for an 0-16 team. It's not. It's not a badge of honor to have cars lined up 10 miles outside the Muni lot because they're getting ready to freaking party all night on a Saturday. Like, dude, we should have seen it. We should have seen what I seen on Sunday. It was hella people out here. There's 100,000 people come downtown just to tailgate opening weekend every year. Outside of the 60,000 that are in the game, there were over 100,000 people downtown Cleveland before the game, tailgating and partying, and a lot of them weren't going to the game. That's insane. That is insane. That's insanity that they come out and they support the team. People show up at 4:30 a.m. on Saturday after or Sunday morning to support this team. They're pissed off. People are pissed off, and they deserve to hold the team accountable. And, guess what, Browns? The Cavs got Donovan Mitchell, and the Guardians are in first place, and they're going to do a playoff push. We don't got time for y'all bullshit. We just don't.
Yeah.
We just don't. So,
the Bengals are competing with the Reds and FC Cincinnati, so we don't have the same situation.
So like nobody had we got two other winning teams in Cleveland right now. Nobody had time for your bullshit. And me personally, like I said, like I don't like the national media. They laugh at us anyway. Like you've been laughing at me my entire life. Like why do I value anything that you say to me? And that's how I feel about ESPN. Nothing ESPN say about Cleveland anymore has any weight to me. I don't even watch SportsCenter no more. Like, I literally don't watch SportsCenter no more because, like, literally, I personally wrote a letter to Stephen A. Smith, a very nice letter to Steve. This is true story. Stephen A. Smith came to Cleveland. God bless him. Mother passed away. Wrote him a letter telling him why the city of Cleveland supports him. Very good dude. Gave us stuff. Gave me and my brother free stuff and everything. This really did happen. You know what Stephen A. Smith did 2 weeks later? He got on national television and he made fun of our city. And like, it's just like, dude, come on, man. Like I get it that you do it for humor, but like, all right, the people who are laughing at this, like, come on, man. What are we doing here? I'm not even like mad or disappointed. I'm just like, all right, I just had enough. Like, just whatever. And I like you, Stephen. I love Stephen A. Smith. Like, if you ever see, I love you. Don't take back any words that I said. Like, I meant every single word. But it's just like, dude, come on, man. Like, every single time you come here, we treat you like gold. And every single time you continue to come here, we're gonna treat you like gold. But like, we're Ohio, dude. They hate us. Let's be real. And I hate.
I do not like Stephen A. Smith. He is a filthy Steelers fan. So fuck off, Stephen A. Smith.
He's also a Knicks fan, so that's
I don't
great.
care about that. I literally have no stake in the Knicks. Like, what?
Hey, it's funny though. It's funny to me because he's a Knicks fan. They're like the Browns in the NBA.
Okay, yeah, I have heard negative things about the Knicks, I suppose. But I mean, as you know, I'm a Sonics fan, so I'm not aware that I should care anything about the Knicks at all.
See. The only reason why I like to let that pass so much, Kyle, is because I'm confident the Sonics won't be back.
Well, yeah, actually, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, but they're talking about expanding back to Seattle. So
yeah, they're going to they're talking about expanding 2 more teams and 1 team. I think they're gonna put a team in Vegas and a team in Seattle. Is probably what they're gonna do.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Probably make Memphis the Eastern Conference
back, baby.
Yeah, probably make Memphis an Eastern Conference. Memphis and Minnesota an Eastern Conference team. Probably would do. Make more sense.
Let's go. Memphis is another team I kind of like. Once the Sonics left, I know we're getting way off track here, but once the Sonics left, I bounced around a bunch of different teams. Like I was briefly a fan of the Miami Heat because I'm a very petty person, and I thought it was hilarious that LeBron James left Cleveland. But then LeBron went back to Cleveland, and I had to pick a new team because I don't really actually care about the Miami Heat. So I just went with I think I went with the like when I was a kid I kind of liked the Toronto Raptors, so I kind of followed them a little bit. The Memphis Grizzlies, I like their uniforms and everything like that, so that's cool. I followed the Timberwolves because Karl Anthony Towns was my favorite player when he was at Kentucky.
Awesome.
So him and like Boogie Cousins is another one who's one of my favorite players. So when he joined Golden State, I was hyped, dude. And then KD and Boogie both joined Golden State, and I'm just like, dude, those are like 2 of my favorite players of all time. This is awesome. And I know everybody was like, oh, you're breaking the spirit of competition in the game, but I'm like, but for me, those are 2 of my favorite players. Like, I don't care about your spirit of competition. I love Boogie and I love KD. Like, period. I know KD's kind of a bitch, but he was like, we hate the
word. We talk to a Cavs fan. Like that's like one of the top 5 rivalries in the NBA history. Cavs Warriors.
I'm aware, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not get into the Warriors because of any spite towards Cleveland. That just
I get that because your father's a Cavs fan.
But anyway, we're getting way off track here. We need to finish up with the state of the AFC North because we're like an hour and 15 minutes into this. And
I got 5% battery on my phone, which is like 15-20 minutes because I got a new phone that has a 2-day battery, so 5% could give me another 15-20 minutes. So we have 15-20 minutes.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up anyway because I kind of want to get to bed. But first, let's just once again, the Steelers lost to the Patriots, which is just proof that the Steelers are garbage because the Patriots aren't very good either this year. And just once again, man, how on earth did we let that game slip away? How do we lose, man? That just, if anything, that just shows how pathetic the Bengals are right now, man. Like, and I think the Bengals will bounce back, but right now it's not looking good. And losing to the Steelers is proof of that. Like, God, they're so bad. Mitch Trubisky threw for 168 yards, 1 touchdown, and an early interception that kind of set the whole game off on a bad pace for the entire night. Najee Harris couldn't do anything against that offensive line, man. I'm just saying the Bengals better beat them in Week 11, or I am going to shit. Like all over the floor.
That sounds disgusting.
It is disgusting, but that's how I feel about losing to the Steelers. I feel disgusting.
Pittsburgh looks bad. I was talking to this Pittsburgh friend today, actually. He said that he doesn't like that. He actually said that he thinks Pittsburgh is going to lose to the Browns tomorrow because he doesn't trust the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh. Call me crazy, but I thought that Ben Roethlisberger kind of held that team together because of his veteran experience. I think a veteran could fix a lot of issues and could cover a lot of issues. A veteran quarterback could cover a lot of issues with a team, especially a Hall of Fame veteran quarterback. And I think that Ben Roethlisberger understood offense, and I think the Steelers got away with lukewarm offense coordinators for the longest. Mike Tomlin is not an offensive coach, so I just don't see him covering deficiencies on offense. I think that he has a real problem on offense. I don't think Najee Harris is really that good, honestly. I just don't.
I saw Najee Harris make some unbelievable, like, I mean, he didn't get much of anything accomplished, but like some of the moves Najee Harris made, it made me realize, like, man, if this dude was on a good team, he'd be something else. Like, but he's not good enough to overcome the Steelers football team. Like, they're just so
I
bad
don't think
around.
The offense is efficient. I just don't think Mitsubiski's doing. Like, I don't think Mitsubiski.
They're not.
How?
You're right. They're not. All I'm saying, I'm not saying Najee Harris is gonna like save the Steelers or anything like that. What I'm saying is, independently, he's a very talented player, and I saw it on some of the things that he did. Some of the way he picked up any yards against the Patriots at all was almost entirely just because he's an insanely talented human being. I understand why the Steelers were like, we should probably pick this guy up for our football team. The problem is you put him in a situation where there's no foundation for him to operate in.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steelers terrible. Last game that we need to talk about. Thomas, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the magic number in football is?
That's a weird question. Do you mean like magic
I know,
number?
but you'll understand what I'm saying when you
22.
answer. No, the magic number in football is 28-3.
Ah.
Yeah. And do you know what the most recent instance of 28-3 is?
Tua Tagovailoa and Lamar Jackson.
Sort of, yes. The Baltimore Ravens, or the Miami Dolphins, outscored the Baltimore Ravens 28-3 in the final 12 minutes of their game. You thought the Browns' collapse was bad. You know, they gave up a couple touchdowns at the end of the game and lost when they had a lead. 28-3 in the final 12 minutes of a game. That's bad, dude.
That's consistently bad. They had more chances to correct it than we did.
Exactly. That's the thing. Now, don't get me wrong, first of all. Lamar Jackson was on a mission yesterday.
Oh, he was
Lamar
balling.
Jackson played incredibly well, and
Oh, he was
I
balling.
think Lamar. I think he proved that he is like, as much as we make fun of him on the show, he
Oh,
is
bro,
a very talented quarterback. He can get things done, but man, that the Ravens really dropped the ball against the Dolphins. Like, I mean, they had them like in their clutches. Like they had the Dolphins like dead to rights, and then
Yeah. We got your balls. We got your
jeez,
balls.
man.
You ain't going anywhere. I
Jeez.
got your balls. Keep going nowhere. I got your balls.
And I gotta say, man, like I've been like really like I like Tua, but I've been doubting the hell out of him throughout his career because he just hasn't really been showing a lot. But then again, I also did attribute a lot of it to Brian Flores. And I said that Brian Flores needed to be fired because I felt like he wasn't developing Tua like at all. And like I know he put together a good defensive scheme and all, but it takes more than just putting together a good defensive scheme to be a good head coach. Like you have to be able to manage players. You have to be able to do this, that, and the other. And Brian Flores just did not do that. And I felt he was wasting Tua Tagovailoa's potential and all of his talent. And the way that Tua played in this game, I know he threw a couple of picks, but he threw 6 touchdowns. The way that Tua played in this game was proof that he did in fact deserve to be drafted in the first round, and he probably deserved that first overall consideration. He was getting there for a while.
Yeah.
And I myself, originally before Joe Burrow blew up, I originally wanted the Bengals to draft Tua with the first overall pick. And this is why, because he's a very talented player. Like he's very, very good. Like, you know, like he needed to be paired with a coach that believed in him. But I mean, dude, Mike McDaniel's a good Mike McDaniel's a good coach, and I think the Dolphins have something that's going to potentially go in the right direction for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it doesn't go in the right direction too quickly, because we got to play them in 2 weeks. But and right now, man, we need we screwed up these 2 easy games against the Steelers and the Cowboys. So, I mean, if we want to get to 2-2 in 2 weeks, it's going to be hard because, I mean, it's, you know, we got to go through the Jets. I think we can beat the Jets. Mm-hmm. Although, then again, you don't want to underestimate the Jets either. Like you were saying,
you want to estimate any team in the NFL.
But at the same time, going up against that Dolphins offense, that might be potentially scary. Then again, this Bengals defense, like as inept as the offense has been throughout large stretches of the season, the Bengals defense has been proving that they're very good. I wish they'd like generate some turnovers and like, you know, do a little bit better job of pressuring the quarterback, but they are stopping other teams. They're not letting a lot of points go. So, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens when the Dolphins play the Bengals, just to see if their offense can actually do anything. Don't forget, you know, we already saw Tyreek Hill twice last year, and we did, you know, I mean, he had big games, but we still did just fine against the Chiefs.
Yeah. My battery's at 2% right now. So do you want to do predictions for Thursday real quick? We got here.
Yeah, we should probably go ahead and say who we think is going to win on Thursday. So we got Browns at Steelers. I think I can probably guess who you're going to pick. Go ahead.
Browns.
Browns.
So again, my battery goes down dead before I'm going to explain why. But Browns, I think that the Browns have a better quarterback, better running back, better offensive line, better cornerbacks. They got a better safety. Minka Fitzpatrick scares me. I think that he could probably get a pick on Jacoby. But I still think, not only do I think the Browns are going to win, but I think the Browns are going to win this game pretty handily, actually.
I'm definitely going to disagree with you here. Not necessarily on the prediction, but I'm going to disagree with you on your analysis. I think Mitch Trubisky is a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. I think the Steelers cornerbacks are better than the Browns cornerbacks.
Sure.
Obviously Denzel Ward is Denzel Ward, but like,
what about Greg Newsome?
You know, he's good. But I think it's a lot closer than you're giving it credit. I think right now the Browns and the Steelers are very similar teams. So I mean, kind of a tough one, honestly. I'm gonna give it to the Browns. Just my gut says the Browns. I really think this is going to be a closer game than you're giving it credit for, but my gut says that the Browns are going to win, so I'll take the Browns too.
Hey, the Browns will come out this week fired up.
Yeah,
I
I think technically I don't know if I can do it, but I think technically I have to root for the Steelers, because I mean, quite honestly, like I don't want the Browns. I don't want the Browns going into getting Deshaun Watson back. Like if he is in fact good, which I don't know if he's going to be, but if he is still good, I don't want the Browns going into getting Deshaun Watson back with a good record. And I trust the Steelers to collapse. So I'd rather have a 2-1 Steelers team than a 2-1 Browns.
You don't want the Browns to have 6 wins with Deshaun Watson. Nobody wants that.
No.
All right, my battery's going dead. Go Browns!
Yeah. All right, so that's it for the Battle of Ohio podcast this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You can always catch more of what I do at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/the Phelps. Catch more of what Thomas does at T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram. I think we already lost him, but that's okay because we're just wrapping up now. He already said his thing. I will leave you as always with a hooday. And he says his thing, and I'm not a big fan of that, but you know how that goes. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. Yeah, we both think that the Browns will beat the Steelers.